Primarily along party lines, the Democrat-run House of Representatives Friday, September 24th, passed H.R. 3755, what they call the Women's Health Protection Act, a twisted and dark title for any woman who happens to recall the truism that her healthy life started in the womb. Hi, everyone. I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. The vote, yes, it was 218 to 211 and saw a tsunami of Democrat support, and all members of the GOP who were present vote against it. And in her infamously supercilious way, haughty, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the Democrat from California, soon took to the mic behind the globalist Build Back Better for Women sign and say,
"In some ways, this is a great day for the women and indeed all of the families of America."
Which is curious, since most families are built through the God-given process of procreation, while some are composed of parents adopting children who have not been exterminated by so-called doctors. Perhaps when Pelosi uses the term families, she means the Manson family. It's difficult to tell. Of course, no Pelosi word harangue would be complete without a petulant swipe at federalism, at the reality that life begins at conception, and at the U.S. Supreme Court, which recently found constitutional a Texas statute that bans the willful taking of a human life 6 weeks or more after conception. To her crowd of gathered gatherers, Pelosi said,
"In another way, it's sad that it is so necessary because of actions of that Supreme Court supporting legislation that is shameful in every way to our country and what we are about."
What we are about. Be sure to bow in acquiescence when this tax parasite displays the gall to tell you what we are all about. And of course, be ready for Joe Biden's administration to tell you also. For as Jerry Pierce reports for Decision Magazine online, quote, "In the wake of Texas's unprecedented attack," the White House said, "it has never been more important to codify this constitutional right and to strengthen health care access for all women, regardless of where they live." If you detect a hint of let's divide and conquer by race, well, you're right. As Pierce explains, the Dems in the White House and Pelosi's gaggle in the House have utterly no shame. They will paint their move with a false veneer of so-called social justice, even when more Americans are becoming aware of the fact that abortion in the U.S. and in other nations has a long connection to anti-minority eugenicists. Quote, "The text of the bill also includes race in its rationale for the measure, apparently seeking to position abortion rights, at least partly, as a racial justice issue." Quote, "Reproductive justice seeks to address restrictions on reproductive health, including abortion, that perpetrate systems of oppression, lack of bodily autonomy, white supremacy, and anti-black racism." So get this. These self-important narcissists who violently suck off the sustenance we create through peaceful market exchange actually have written in the bill text that claims their attempt to nullify state laws protecting life. Well, their attempt is made in part to fight anti-black with a capital B racism. Well, surely Margaret Sanger, the eugenicist founder of the abortion mill Planned Parenthood, who in the early 20th century openly stated her desire to reduce the population of black people with a capital B, would applaud, wouldn't she? Well, surely abortion on demand through Sanger's organization, an organization receiving oodles of tax cash thanks to woke politicians like Pelosi, surely That hasn't been one of the deadliest forms of anti-black racism in the history of the planet Earth. As Catherine Davis and Bradley Mattis wrote for the Washington Examiner last year, quote, "The tragic reality is that 79% of Planned Parenthood abortion facilities are located within walking distance of neighborhoods that have proportionately higher populations of Black and Latina women." End quote. And they add something else that Democrats like Pelosi and Biden might want to run up their flagpoles. Quote, "Since Roe v. Wade legalized abortion in 1973, abortion has killed an estimated 20 million Black babies, more than the entire Black population of 1960. End quote. And the high-octane racist narrative flip is just one aspect of the up and down inversion visible in the bill and, of course, in its supporters' so-called rationales. It's all further evidenced by the fact that the House Dems, led by Roman Catholic Pelosi and Roman Catholic Biden, not only call murder a form of family planning and add to the insult by claiming their support for a century-old deadly race-based purge is somehow pro-black. Well, they add to it by the fact that they don't even bother to recognize the document they swore to protect and defend. Hey, by the way, I'll give you a hint, Nancy and Joe. That would be your Constitution. Simply put, their Constitution leaves it to the states to define capital murder crimes, and it only allows federal intervention if criminals travel over state borders or a crime happens as the accused and the victim are moving over state lines. The definition of murder is supposed to be a state matter, and since the 14th Amendment requires states to protect all equally, it means that if a state has statutes prohibiting murder of human beings, as I wrote 2 weeks ago for MRC-TV, quote, "Since upon conception, a fetus is a distinct person, a distinct living human being, laws in any state that supposedly protect non-fetuses from attacks by others are supposed to protect all people." Yes, Nancy, that includes human beings who are fetuses. This would mean that the recently passed Texas heartbeat bill prohibiting the taking of a human life at or after 6 weeks from conception should be actually superfluous, since Texas laws against murder should include all human life. But sadly, too few people understand the axiomatic truth that human life begins at conception. They don't face the undeniable facts that a fetus is human with its own distinct DNA, and that it is alive on the great continuum from beginning to demise. As a result, the Texas government passed the extra law, actually excluding humans who only have had up to 6 weeks to live. The key on this new national battlefield is that Pelosi and the Bidenistas want to skirt the Constitution to nullify state laws like that passed in Texas. And they're so desperate to make it seem like a civil rights versus racist state politicians issue that they're exhibiting the chutzpah of claiming to support Black Americans when abortion is a weapon that for over 100 years in the U.S. has been used to destroy Black human beings. The Constitution not only doesn't give them this racialist cover, it already prohibits states from not protecting fetuses if those states have statutes prohibiting murder. And that inversion of reality, by the way, that twisted, sick rhetorical attempt to hide their end run around the Constitution, it's been made even worse by their pals at the abortion-loving Washington Post. Get this. As the final insult, the report on this, written by the Post's Felicia Somnes and Ann E. Marimau, appeared with this headline, quote, "House passes bill to create statutory right to abortion as a battle over Texas law heats up." That's right. The Post used the term statutory right when there's no such thing. This is the level of ignorance on display in the pop media. This is the vacuousness These are the people at the Post thinking that a right can be created by the government, by politicians passing statutes, when statutes are supposedly passed to protect the rights we have prior to and apart from the government. Our rights are given to us by God upon our creation, not by the state. But perhaps the editors at the Washington Post actually know this, and they believe that by repeatedly attacking the idea of God-given rights tied to our God-initiated creation, they can get more and more people worshiping at the altar of the government and make rights as easily revocable as a library card. And perhaps they do this knowing full well that it will facilitate more abortions in the death cult of government worship. More abortions. Yeah, it seems to be what they want, as shown by the High Priestess, Nancy Pelosi, and the High Priest, Catholic Joe Biden. Yes, indeed, those avowed Catholics leading the abortion cult in their incantations of political power. Wow. Hey, thanks so much for watching, everybody. If you get the opportunity, please share these videos with others. Hopefully, you'll find some interesting information to carry with you beyond the immediate story. Maybe come back to these videos every once in a while and say, oh yeah, I remember there was a little nugget that, in addition to the immediate issue, we can take with us, some piece of learning. And if you get the opportunity, visit MRCTV.org. MRCTV.org, you'll find the whole team there anytime. You'll find us on Rumble, and of course, I'll see you in the comments section at YouTube. Please like and subscribe. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.